So, Joey, I have something really important I wanted to tell you.
Okay, sure, whatever.
And don't hate me for it, but
we just sit next to each other in this class for this whole year. We barely ever speak. Why? I don't understand why.
Okay, well, this is a really deep secret of mine, and I really wanted to let you know of it because I feel like our relationship has grown so much.
Yeah, you said hi to me the other day before we sat down.
I wanted to tell you that I am a witch.
Okay.
I know it sounds so crazy, but
yeah,
it's true. I am. I do incantations and spells, and the reason I wanted to tell you is because I did a spell on you.
You did a spell on me.
Yes.
What is this spell that you did?
I did a love spell that you would fall in love with me, and you have fallen head over heels.
I literally feel nothing for you. I don't think about you when you're not around. It didn't work.
Well,
I hate to break it to you.
I beg to differ. I've seen the way you look at me. I can tell the spell worked. If you don't believe that, there are some other things that I've done that prove that I'm a witch.
All right, let's hear them.
Well, number one, yesterday I was walking across the street at a bus station.
Okay.
And I walked all the way across. And in my head, I was thinking, stop to the cars. And they stopped while I crossed.
Well, usually cars will stop for a pedestrian.
I don't want to hear your explanations. The second one, you know David?
Yeah, I know David.
My uncle?
Yeah, your uncle David.
I wished that he would get in a car wreck, and he did. Yesterday, he's in the hospital now. What do you say to that?
Well, he is an amateur stock car racer. He's going to get into a little accident at some point. I mean, it's inevitable.
Okay. The craziest part, I was walking the beach and there were animals on the beach, beached whales and sharks. They were a gift to me.
You know that's just a side effect of global warming, right?
No. This is real.
You need to stop watching The Craft. First of all, that movie's like 30 years old.
What?
Yeah, a movie from like 1996. About girl witches in high school.
I've never seen this.
You haven't seen it?
You haven't seen it?
No way. You're out of order.
Stop! You're killing me, Smalls.
Fasten your seatbelts.
You're tearing me apart.
Houston, we have a problem.
What we've got here is failure.
Conceivable. God damn you all to hell!
Hello and welcome to
You Haven't Seen It?
It's Spooky Dooktober, the month where I force my husband to watch spooky movies he's never cared to see. I'm your host, Aaron.
And I'm the husband, Joey, from the traditional U.S. home of witches, Southern California. Joey. I already said my name.
No, you didn't.
I didn't? Okay,
You
whatever.
said I'm the husband.
We'll have to play it back.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Hello. This is my day today.
Yeah, don't blow out the mics now. I see you. I can tell you're excited.
Okay. Well, so today we're talking about the movie The Craft.
The Craft.
Ooh, witches.
Witches.
Broomsticks. There's no actual broomsticks.
Yeah.
That was one thing that the director was like, I do not want pointy hats or broomsticks.
Yeah. I think that was a good call.
Yes. So Joey, how's it going for you?
Pretty good. We got back from our friend's wedding this weekend.
Yeah.
We had a really fun time.
It was awesome.
Yeah, we talked about it last episode, but we
actually went to it.
Yeah,
now.
we actually went to it and we had a really fantastic time.
I cried.
Yeah.
A lot.
I didn't. but I almost did.
Aww. The cool thing was that we were at our old venue, and so literally because I was in the bridal party, hair toss.
Mm-hmm.
I kept looking over at you, just like remembering whenever we were up there.
Yeah.
Because they were standing in the same spot we got married.
Yeah, they
So
were.
it was really
They
special.
had the chairs set up the same way. It was
I
very
know.
reminiscent of our wedding.
I know. So I kept looking at you. I don't know if you noticed me looking at
No.
you. But I kept looking over at you just because I was like, oh, that was us. Almost
you just
7
look
years
really,
ago.
You look really pretty in your bridesmaid dress.
Oh, thank
So.
you.
Yeah. I looked at you a few times when you were up there too. Yeah. But we had a great time.
We're so cute.
The bride and groom are really fun people, so they had some fun things that they did, like they gave out toy lightsabers at one point, and what else did they do?
They had, for their favors, they gave out their favorite
Halloween
candies.
Yeah.
So my best friend, hers is Butterfingers, which is also my favorite. And then
Butterfingers
his favorite
good.
was Reese's, which is another good one. And then their favorite was Snickers, which is Joey's favorite.
I mean, these are like some of the best American candies that exist. So.
But it was really fun. It was really cute. It was on Friday the 13th, so they had someone brought a Jason mask and was dancing, like people were dancing around in it. It was really fun. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of good time.
Something I really liked about it was I used to shoot weddings. I used to be a wedding videographer briefly, and they would, a lot of times when they would have a groom's party or bride's party go up and do speeches, they're terrible.
Yeah.
But both people, there was one from the bride's party and one from the groom's party, and they both gave speeches, and they were both really good.
Yeah.
And they made you like awe and like tear up a little bit. But usually the best man speeches are terrible.
Yeah, he did a really great job with his speech.
I think so too. And he wrote some good jokes.
Yeah.
He wrote some good jokes. So
one of the things was that he was like, if you know me, you know I don't talk very much. So this is the most you're going to ever hear me talk. So he must I don't know him. I didn't know any of the groomsmen. But he was a very quiet person. Like he didn't talk very much the whole time any of us interacted.
Oh, okay.
So he seemed like a quiet, but like a good guy.
Right. That's cool.
So yeah, It was really fun. Have a wonderful anniversary if you're listening to this, BFF.
You mean honeymoon?
Honeymoon. That's what I said. What did I say?
Yeah, it said anniversary.
Oh, have a wonderful honeymoon.
Yeah, they're in Orlando now visiting all the Orlando theme parks, which is something that
We did.
Yeah,
also.
we did that. We went to Universal Studios for our honeymoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're real theme park people.
Yes.
Some
and
people
so is my best friend and her husband.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's her husband now. It's not her fiance anymore. But they're big into theme parks, so they're in Florida doing some Universal, doing some spooky stuff.
Yeah, I've learned that there's a lot of people who really don't like theme parks.
Really?
Yeah, I think the waiting in line, and then of course it's expensive.
Yeah.
But I grew up down the street from a Six Flags theme park. It's not there anymore, but I lived 20 minutes away from it as a kid, so I have a lot of nostalgia around theme parks.
Yeah.
So that's where my love of it comes from.
I also have some nostalgia for theme parks because we used to go to the same park that you went to, Astroworld in Houston, but we could only go like one time a year. And so the entire year I was just hoping and waiting and could not wait till we went to Six Flags.
Yeah, the anticipation.
Yes. So I have very fond memories. It was like a whole big event that we would always do every year. And so it was very special to us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and as an adult, I still love it. There are a lot of downsides to it. It's expensive. Yeah. You have to wait in line a lot, but it's worth it for me. A lot of people don't. Like I get it because I don't think I'm a cruise person.
Yeah, I've never been on a
cruises.
cruise, but I don't think I would like to be on a cruise either.
No. So I get it though.
So yeah. So Joey, we're talking about The Craft. Did you know anything about The Craft? What is your history with The Craft?
I remember this movie coming out. I was in middle school, and I was starting to get into like counterculture-y stuff around the time, like gothic and witchcraft and metal and punk stuff, even though I never really got into punk much. But I remember, this is so stupid, like trying to do seances at like sleepovers and a Ouija board. And
Wait, okay. I didn't realize that guys would do those things too.
Yeah, but I also did them with my sister and her friends.
Oh, okay. Because it seems very girly to do.
This
like,
movie, yeah.
Oh, yeah. This movie is definitely really girly. But I'm saying, well, I guess my brother's gay. But we would do like seances with my cousin.
But we were just doing it to be rebellious and be like, Christian people don't like this.
Oh, okay.
That was really
we were
more
being like,
about-
oh, this is so spooky.
Yeah, and then I'd never really believed in any of it. I kind of just went along with it because I was always even before I knew I was an atheist. I was an atheist.
Yeah.
But I remember this coming out, and I don't know why I never saw it because it came out in like '96. It was around the same time I was getting into that stuff. My sister saw it, and she liked it, and I remember her friends talking about it. But I just never saw it. I was too busy watching The Crow over and over. That stupid movie.
Yeah, so for me, this movie, I mean, I was 3 years old when it came out, so I didn't see it until I was a teenager. But I think this is a really like iconic coming of age kind of story for a lot of girls. Well, that's not the story of it, but it kind of is.
I think it's relatable for girls.
It's so relatable because everyone deals with some of the same issues that the girls go through. They're not good enough. Their body's ugly. There's always something wrong with them. And women are always told that throughout our entire lives that something is wrong with us and that we should change it. And you're not good enough ever.
Right.
And so I think a lot of people were drawn to this, even though like even Christian people were really drawn to it just because of that aspect of it. Even without like the spooky, alt kind of feeling that this movie has. So I first saw it when I was a teenager, and I'm pretty sure this is where my phobia of snakes came from, because there's a lot of snakes in this, and I hate snakes. But I remember enjoying this movie because it was kind of like alternative, which when I got into middle school, I started becoming more alternative, and I was raised very Catholic, and so it spooked me a lot.
Right.
So like whenever I watched this movie again, I was like, this is not scary at all. Our daughter watched it completely and was like, this is nothing.
The part that she liked the least was where one of the girls got sexually assaulted.
Oh yeah,
And
which I
then
was
had
like, good.
Yeah. It wasn't a bad sexual assault, so we didn't force our child to watch like a rape scene or anything.
Yeah.
The girl gets away, thankfully. But yeah, this movie it's very much like a coming of age type thing, but they sort of abandon that, and then they kind of dip their toe into the witch territory a little bit, but never fully, it feels like. My biggest complaint about this movie was like it never really goes whole hog into any of the themes that it's presenting. It's like, come on, like really hunker down on some of these themes and stick to them. Like you said, the director didn't want the pointy hats or the brooms. Like, I think that's a good way to go, but it was pretty light on the witchcraft stuff, I thought.
It definitely could have had more, but I mean,
you
when also don't want it to be all spells.
Well, I'm not saying it's had to be all spells, but when they do the spells, it's like they sit in a circle with some candles and they say the same thing over and over again. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of like, all right.
Yeah. And some of the times when they do some of the spells, it's not very like creepy. Like the one where she's like, oh, this is an illusion one. The illusion, or what is it called? I don't remember. A glamour. But the glamour, like, I was like, this is a really lame way to put that in. Like, it's like, I'm going to change my eye color and then my hair color.
Yeah.
It was like, you could have done something really cool. And you did that.
Yeah. I mean, I would if I was writing this movie, I'd have a lot of trouble trying to come up with things to do. Mm-hmm. But I don't. I feel like they just left a lot on the table with a lot of these things. Like they could have been really creative with the way they shot some of it, and then just weren't.
Well, it was also shot in the 90s. You said that it doesn't have a very 90s feel, but growing up, I thought it was so 90s.
Well, it is 90s, but I thought it was going to be like a super 90s feeling movie like Clueless or what's another movie that just screams 90ness at you?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I can think of it.
But the movie has like it feels very very real in the teen sense. Like the way the girls interact with each other, all of that is very teenage. And so, but I guess it's not very 90s necessarily.
No, and also it was, they were private school kids.
Yes.
So they were wearing uniforms all the time instead of like 90s clothes. There was some needle drops in there that were very 90s songs. But
yeah, that first song. All of the songs were very.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. But I feel like they didn't have too many, probably because they just didn't want to pay for licenses.
Oh, no, everybody now. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So what's some other facts about the movie?
So it actually, Fairuza Balk, who plays Nancy, who's one of the main characters, she was actually practicing Wiccan during this movie, and then she like officially came out like saying like I do Wiccan, I practice Wiccan after she played it. Like so, once the film was out, like she was like I actually do practice. And there was the Rochelle, the actress that plays her, also has dabbled in witchcraft, which is interesting. Like they get a little. It felt realistic because I think whenever they were filming this, like the incantations were not real because they had someone come in and actually like they had an actual Wiccan that was there on set to make she wrote the incantations, so they're not real incantations, but they feel and sound kind of like incantations that are realistic. And she like completely advises film. But I think the girls having that kind of background made those two actresses, I feel like whenever they were performing incantations sounded more realistic than the other two a little bit.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. There was some weird stuff that kind of happened while they were shooting also. They kept saying that crows would like come to the set and like they were like all the time around. Where was it?
Yeah, well that always has whenever somebody's making movies like this, they always say things like that. Like
yeah.
If you watch a documentary about The Omen, they talk about all the stuff that went wrong while they were shooting The Omen.
They said that it would just like start downpouring all of a sudden. I don't know if that's common in California.
No, that's why one of the reasons the film industry is in Southern California is because it doesn't rain. But the weather's predictable.
Yeah, but it was like it would just like start downpouring like all of a sudden randomly. And then they said that one day when they were shooting on the beach, I'm guessing it was the beach scene where they're like that night or in the morning. At some point, it was they were working during tide, but the girls were doing a incantation, and then like a huge surge from the water like completely took their set away. So they had to reset and do it again.
They're like, what are we on the set of Waterworld?
Yeah. So it was tide time, or they were working outside of the tide times, but there was like this huge surge that kind of like washed everything away. So like there were like the superstitions that were happening.
Yeah, but like I said, like anytime somebody shoots a movie like this, it's people always like say, "Oh, we were doing this superstitious type movie," and then all these weird things started happening. It's like weird things happen anytime you shoot a movie.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that they did, like the incantations they did weren't real, is because they didn't want to like use real incantations and like disrespect the Wiccan religion or like the culture. I don't know what you would say. And then Pat, the person that was her name was Pat Devon. She was the Wiccan that was on set with them. She did one spell, and it was to make the film #1 at the box office.
And did that work?
It did. It was
much?
#1. I don't. Let me see. The film made.
What was it released in February?
I don't know.
When nobody's going to the movies and it was #1?
Oh, probably. Ooh, let me go back. So.
Yeah, the Southern California thing was a big thing for me. I was like, why are they shooting a movie about witches in Southern California? They could have had the ambiance of, Massachusetts,
Yeah.
Winston-Salem to do it. I guess it was cost them too much to take the production there, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
But having it set in sunny Southern California where it doesn't rain and it's barely ever overcast, it really put this ambiance on the movie that just did not make you feel like you were in a movie about witches doing witchcraft.
Yeah.
I think it was one of the biggest missteps in this.
Well, yeah, because in the beginning it's very rainy, and I was like, oh, they did this film in the East Coast. I thought she was moving from the West Coast to the East Coast.
Yeah, that would have been better. But instead she moves from San Francisco to Los Angeles.
It seemed very...
I bet you that's what was in the script.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, we have to film it in L.A., and the only thing, I don't even think they ever mentioned that it was in Los Angeles.
But they could have said like it was like it. I would have believed it enough,
Yeah,
like they filmed
me.
Halloween in California.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe if they had found a house that looked like it was on the East Coast, but they did. They found like a Spanish villa type property for that girl's house, and I just wasn't buying it. And the rain, even the rain at the beginning looked fake. Because it always does in LA. But
okay, so the release date was May 3rd, 1996. The movie's budget was $15 million. And then at box office, it made $55.6 million.
55.6. Yeah, so it made money.
Yeah. I don't know, like...
Must have been a pretty slow week if that was #1.
I guess. It made $6 million on opening weekend alone.
Okay.
So I don't know what that means. I don't like all of these like box office. You always tell me those things, and I'm like, I don't understand what it means. So
Well,
I mean,
it's
they
not
made
necessarily
money
for you. It's
Yeah.
but
they definitely made money from it. But I don't know, like compared to other movies, like how well it did.
I just bet you like nothing really else came out. Like May is kind of that month before the big summer budgets come out.
Oh, okay.
So it probably wasn't up against anything big. But I mean, it made money and it came in #1. That's cool.
Yeah.
It was a good hit for, all the people involved in it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there was not.
And I think it did. I think it's one of those movies that did really well on home video, and one of those movies that was probably played on cable all the time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's how I saw it. I think it was on cable. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't have like a movie or DVD of it. I think someone either rented it or we watched it on TV. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a cult classic though. I haven't heard anybody talk about it ever. Not since the 90s.
Well, I do feel like a lot of women or girls talk about The Craft. There's even like a TikTok trend with The Craft right now.
Oh, well, maybe it is a cult film. I don't know.
Like the part where she says, "You don't even exist to me." And then like, he's sorry. Like people are doing like sound bits with that.
Oh,
So, but,
okay. Well, I'm glad I'm not on TikTok.
so yeah, I mean, that's the gist of it.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy the movie to a degree. Like, I think the script was pretty tight. I think some of the performances are pretty hokey.
Yeah.
And Fairuza Balk starts chewing scenery pretty bad in the second half of the film.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like in the beginning she was like fine. Then when she gets to the end, after she's Manon like has entered her, it got a little hokier than I wanted. Because like even like the girls, I don't even think Manon needed to like do that. I feel like the girls, I mean, I have my own opinions of the show, which we can get into later. But like the end part, I just feel like is kind of anticlimactic and like weird.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wish they would have like tried to shoot things a little bit more interesting. Like the part where all the snakes and bugs show up. I was like, wow, okay, now we're getting somewhere.
They used a ton of reptiles for the show.
Yeah, somebody got paid a lot of money to do that. But and then you find out it's just an illusion. And you're like, well, come on. Like, I thought we were going to start getting into some cool visuals. I feel like there's a lot of really cool, interesting camera work you could have done or some special effects. Like movies that I've seen, like Requiem for a Dream, where they're showing people shooting up in like really interesting ways. Because like showing someone shooting up drugs isn't really very interesting.
Yeah.
But they'll like do a really tight shot on somebody's pupil getting bigger or, you know, some sound effects and some quick cutting. I was like, well, this movie could have really benefited from that type of stuff. And like drawing out the rituals and stuff longer. And then maybe you were saying like they had a Wiccan on set. Maybe they were trying to do it too faithfully to where
it didn't feel realistic, or it didn't feel.
It felt too realistic.
Yeah,
is what I mean.
It didn't feel interesting.
Yeah, like I was like, well, at some point they're going to get to where they're like cutting a rabbit and using its blood or something like that, and they never do.
Yeah, and even like when they use their own blood, they just like do a little tiny little finger prick and like
like they're trying to test their blood sugar.
I know.
Or something.
Yeah, like cut like your hand open. That would have been more interesting than just like a little finger prick. Yeah, I get what you mean.
I couldn't believe this movie was rated R.
Yeah,
could you?
No,
I don't. It had to be like the MPAA had to be like, this is gonna like if kids under 17 see this, they're gonna like become Satanists. Oh, that's the only thing I. Could think of.
I bet. I
it
definitely
was
bet.
So
this
soft.
is like right after the Satanic Panic too, right?
Well, that was the 80s, but yeah.
Yeah, that's like it's after the Satanic Panic. So like,
well, Harry Potter came out after this, and remember all the people saying it was satanic and witchcraft. Harry Potter. So.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I bet since it was even closer to the Satanic Panic, that people were like, I don't know if we can actually like release this at a lower rating because people will go crazy.
Yeah, I'm what I'm saying is like that stuff was always around.
Yeah,
maybe even now.
Oh, it definitely is.
But less so in mainstream culture, but it's still around.
It's definitely in Christian culture.
Yeah.
So, do you want to get into the film?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So, the film starts out with we're in Los Angeles.
I remember they're on a plane.
Yes, they are on a plane, but we start off like...
Oh, the three girls are doing like a seance, right?
Yeah, so... But which one is it? Los Angeles or San Francisco? Where does she move to?
She moves to Los Angeles.
Okay, so it's in Los Angeles, and the three girls are doing this incantation, and then you see the film kind of like shoots across the world or the earth. It like goes over the ocean or something like that. And then
there's a shots in the clouds and stuff too.
And then we go onto the plane where this girl is riding on a plane. They could have also done some really interesting things with like that they've drawn her to them, which could have been really interesting. Like they don't like at the beginning, it seems like they're calling for someone, but then they don't really lead off. Like they don't take off with that. Like saying like, we called her to us. You came here because we.
Yeah, because they just all of a sudden start talking about needing a fourth.
Yeah.
It would have been cool if they had done that first seance was like, let's try to find a fourth.
Yeah.
Right.
Or like calling to the north, calling to the south, calling to the east. We need our west or something like that. You know, I mean, I'm not a Wiccan, so I don't know how to do spells.
Yeah, but no, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but calling towards that person so that they come to them. And that could have been like, the girls would have been like, oh my gosh, I think this is our fourth. I think this is our fourth. It would have made more sense.
Yeah, and then later when they're walking through the hall, they could be like, do you think that's the person? Do you think this is the person? Mm-hmm. And then they see that girl in class. And
yeah, which, so the new girl, Sarah, she's just moved into town. And she's, you can tell that she's a little different from like the popular kids, but she's also not fully creepy like the
she's
witch
not
girls.
An outcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy kind of comes on to her a little bit. And she,
a football player guy.
Yeah, and she kind of has a little crush on him.
Yeah, and also a weird thing that happens at the beginning is they're moving into their new house, and a guy with a snake shows up at the front door.
Yeah, he also comes up later.
Yeah,
but it was.
He gets run over by a car later. Mm-hmm. And it's sort
very
of just
anticlimactic.
Yeah, it just never comes back after that. Yeah, I want to know if they had a scene and it just got cut.
Maybe, but he like comes up with a snake and he's like, you're going to die or something like that. Like, I see your death, something along those lines. Which she could have died.
Yeah,
but so he like comes up with a snake at her house. She goes to school the next day. Where she is sitting in a French class and she like says something in French because she knows French for some reason.
Yeah. And I really like Breckin Meyer's character in this. He's like the class clown, the guy with the blonde hair, and he's always making jokes. Like, I thought he was really good. I think he was the big standout in this whole movie.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Do you know him from other things?
Yeah, he looked familiar. I just can't pinpoint him.
Yeah, he was this. Have you seen Clueless?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. He's the skater kid from that, and he was in a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. He's been in a lot of stuff from the late 90s and 2000s.
Yeah.
So
she's in class and she has a pencil on her desk and she balances it on the tip of the pencil, and then
Neve Campbell notices.
Yeah. So I think her name was Nicole in the movie. But she looks over and she sees it, and then it starts spinning and like it zooms in on it spinning. And then
it's a really good shot of the pencil.
It's really cool. It's really interesting.
There were some shots at the beginning that like when they showed The Craft, there was like some quick editing of some interesting visuals. And then this pencil thing, I was like, okay, we're in for a movie where they're going to do some cool special effects. And they
didn't.
No, they never did.
They started it out and then they abandoned it, which I feel like is a common thread through this movie, like you said.
Yeah.
It definitely has ideas and then abandons them.
Maybe they did and they just didn't have the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think if they got to shoot it, they wouldn't have cut it. Mm-hmm. I think maybe just budget, because he said it was made for $15 million. Mm-hmm. That's not a lot of money.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it.
No.
So there's actually I think a second one of The Craft. And I'd be interested to see it, to see if like they pulled out some more special effects or something.
Oh no, I bet you that's even
terrible. So we see that they're in this like Catholic school. Everyone's dressed in like uniforms. And the three girls are walking through the hall, and then they start talking about this fourth, which they should have established at the beginning that they were looking for a fourth, because it would have made more sense. But so they're like, but Faruqa Balk's character, Nancy, she's like, we don't need a fourth and everything, which is weird because they do.
Yeah.
I feel like her being like, she's just trying, like, in the movie, I think they were just trying to show that she's kind of like the leader of them and like kind of,
yeah, and they definitely established that.
Yeah.
That she's kind of like the one who's running the show.
yes. And then one of the funniest parts that I noticed was they were standing at her locker and she pulls out a noose. And she's hanging on this noose in her locker. And I was like, what the fuck do you have a noose in your locker for? If you were in a Catholic school, they would not allow you to have a freaking noose in your locker.
Well, I identify with this because I feel like every high school has this one girl in it who looks like Fairuza Balk and opens her locker and has like a noose in there for no reason.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely fits the character, but it was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It seems like these girls would have been in trouble all the time.
Yeah, but I definitely feel like when I was in high school, I would have known and been friends with Fairuza Balk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So she's sitting down. The next thing we see is the girls are... Nicole is saying like, oh, I found the fourth. I know who our fourth is. We found her. And everyone's like, I don't know. And Fairuza Balk's character, Nancy's like, definitely not. I don't think we need a fourth. We don't need to do that. And the next scene we see, they're at lunch. This one other thing is this movie kind of jumps to so many locations. We're in so many locations, especially in the beginning. We're by the beach on a cliff. We're on a plane. We're at a house. We're at school. We're in a classroom. We're in the hallway. We're at the lunch. That's a lot of places.
Yeah, they jump around quite a bit at the beginning.
And it's like this hasn't been very far in the movie. This is maybe the first 15 minutes and they've gone to 7 locations.
Yeah.
So it's a little
also
place.
This movie has a lot of characters to introduce at the top.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty concise and pretty efficient with character introductions and saying like, this is Neve Campbell's character. I think her name was Bonnie. She's got scars on her back.
Oh, Bonnie, that's what her name is.
This girl, she's the black girl in the all-white private school. Fairuza Balk is trailer trash. You know, like they, and you see, okay, these are the things that they're going to want to overcome. And anybody with any kind of film fluency is like, oh, they're using witchcraft to try to like better their lives. Mm-hmm. And
they could have hit that over the head more too, like because they only like show one scene of each person how their life is terrible, and then their lives are all of a sudden better.
Yeah. They definitely could have leaned into it a little bit more, but like I said, they're trying to be efficient because this movie's pretty short. Mm-hmm. And then the football guy like goes to the new girl and like, don't hang out with them. They're witches. And I don't understand why he's warning her, really, because later we find out like he just wants to get in that girl's pants.
Yeah.
So I don't know. His character wasn't very didn't have a lot of depth or development.
It definitely did not.
Yeah. So
he tells her not to go hang out with her with the girls, and instead he wants her to go watch him play football practice. Which is that something that people actually do?
I don't think so.
I've never watched someone play football, like practice football. Granted, I didn't hang out with football boys. So
the other witch girls walk up on her while she's watching, and then I don't remember what they say, but they end up going to the witch store.
They tell her like, don't hang out with him because Fairuza has had past experiences with him. She even says like, he spreads disease. I would know, and I was like,
probably got like chlamydia from him.
Yeah,
or
probably.
Something. Yeah, I think that's what they were hinting at.
Yeah. So they're like, you shouldn't hang out with him. You should come with us and go to the mall. And she goes, we're going to go shopping. And she goes, I don't have any money. And she goes, well, we have the 5-figure discount.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. And they go to the witch store and the Wiccan store or whatever. And the clerk who owns it talks to her and be like, "Oh, you have a really bright light, and you're like you
You're a
are good at this.
natural witch.
Yeah, you're a natural witch and whatever." And she says it's good that you're not like your friends because she knows the other ones steal. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of like
establishing that she is different from the other girls.
Yeah, and just better, like more moral.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's a good witch.
Yeah. And then they go out late at night, and I don't know what were they doing out there?
I think it just time had passed in the shop and when they were shopping. So it was after they'd shopped, they were on their way home.
Oh, okay.
But something that happened like right before they went into the shop is that they looked at Sarah's arm, and Sarah had a cut on her arm, and it was a vertical slit wrist.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So she had tried to commit suicide, and one girl says, "You even did it the right direction." And I was like, "Oh my God, maybe this is why it's rated R," because they talk a lot about suicide and like suicidal attempts.
Yeah, they do.
And like saying that's the right way. Ooh.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, when I was in middle school, like there were people that were cutting their wrists. I feel like some people. I had a friend. I knew someone who was cutting in middle school, and it definitely seemed like it was not for relieving of pain. It was to get attention. It seemed like. So. Well,
I think that, I mean, I'm no psychologist or thing, but I think that's all kind of wrapped up together. It's like, you're partially cutting yourself because it does something for you psychologically, but also at the same time, you're hoping somebody sees it.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm no psychologist, so.
Yeah. So.
But they set up that her mother died. Maybe
when she was in childbirth.
So maybe she was dealing with some sort of depression or something like that.
Also, if your mother had died when you were born, you never knew her. I get like that's still sad, but I think it would be even sadder if she knew her mother in life and then she died. Yeah,
because it's later in the movie that they say that. I was like, she died in childbirth? But anyway, they set up that she tried to take her own life. But it doesn't seem like she's struggling with any sort of mental health issue at this point.
No, definitely not.
No, she likes her dad. She has a good home life.
Yeah, she likes her stepmom.
She's attractive. She's getting hit on by the big football player on campus. Yeah, and then she goes out with the football player guy.
Yeah, so she's before that happened, she's trying to cross the street, and. Or this guy is chasing her. The snake guy again is chasing her, and she runs across the street, and he gets hit by a car, and everyone's like, "I hope that he got hit by the car," and it happened, and they were like, "Oh, we all did. We all thought it," and then she was like, "I have to leave," and she went to go hang out with a football boy. Yeah,
I thought that was funny. It's like we saw him run out into a busy street and thought he might get hit by a car, and he did.
Yeah. We did it!
For a second, I thought this movie might be like, oh, these girls think that they're getting into witchcraft, but then at the end of the movie, it reveals like, oh, everything that happened was a coincidence.
Well, that would be a fun comedy.
Yeah, that would be a fun comedy. But it was like, what do they call that? Like chaos magic or something like that? I don't know.
So then, so she sees the guy... And he like takes her home or something. And he tells everyone the next day that he slept with her and that she was a lousy lay.
Yeah. And then,
which is like, I get like, that's a tough thing. Thinking back on it, like if I was watching this for the first time, I would be like, okay, yeah, I get that that's a tough thing. But also, I mean, people like you. Like nobody's like, oh, I hate her, except that one popular girl.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was kind of weird that she went out with him one time and went home. Mm-hmm. And he didn't even seem to really proposition her. He's just like, come home with me?
Yeah.
And then the next day at school, she finds out from the girls in biology class that he's spreading this rumor that she's a lousy lay.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know.
And
really
also, the way
hard.
Faruqa Balk delivered that line, it was very like, I think you like that. I think you're happy that he's spreading this rumor. Because she was like, this is the gossip. Ooh. You know?
Yeah.
I was like, that's not a good friend.
Yeah.
Which maybe they were trying to say that.
I don't know. I think the director was bad. That's what I think.
It was like Andrew Fleming or something like that.
I don't know. I'd never heard of him. I looked at the name and the credits, and I'd never heard of him. So,
well, he did some TV shows that I've watched.
well, directing a TV show is very different from directing a movie.
Yeah,
You're more like in a TV show. You have different cameras, and you're directing the camera movement. In a movie, you're more directing the performances. But anyway, we find out they do lay it out there why she has something against this dude, and it makes sense. Mm-hmm. So then we see what's the black girl's name?
Rochelle.
Rochelle. Yeah, she is at diving practice at school, and then Ben Stiller's ex-wife is like heckling her, and trying to make her screw up. And the funny thing was, like, she doesn't yell at her until she's in midair.
Yeah.
And then she messes up the dive.
I know.
It's like your feet have already left the board.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they're in the locker room, and she calls her. She's like, what's your problem? And she goes, like, you're a negroid?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember her saying that.
Yeah, she says you're a negroid, which...
Oh, my God.
I don't know if that's a racial slur or not.
I think it is.
Well, I mean, I think it was made up for the movie.
Yeah.
And this is another thing that I have. It's like, okay, if this person is supposed to be racist, like, lean into it a little harder. And, like, really, really make her a racist.
Yes.
And say the actual N-word. Go for it. The movie's already rated R.
I know, yeah.
And be like, so that way this girl has a real reason to hate her.
Yeah. There is one part where she says, like, there's this like hairbrush scene. So after she's in swim practice, she's walking by, and the blonde girl, she is looking in her brush, and she goes, ew, there's a pubic hair in my brush. And she goes, oh, it's not. It's just one of Rochelle's nappy hair.
Oh,
hairs.
that's what it was. Yeah. Which is very racial.
Yeah, it was a very racial, but like, I get what you're saying. Like, they could have leaned into that way more.
Yeah, or don't do it at all. Just be like, she's a mean girl.
She's just an asshole.
Yeah.
Because I definitely got that she was being picked on, but the way that they did, I was like, that was terrible.
Yeah.
To call her hair pubic hair, but I mean, also then I feel like that would have been like, that's like PG of how people used to treat, or I mean, people still treat people like that today. But like then in the 90s, I feel like that was kind of vanilla for how racial people were. Cause I feel like there was a lot more racism in the 90s.
I feel like they should have just hit it a lot harder.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. That way because there is a part later in the movie where so much of her hair is falling out, you start to feel bad for her a little bit. Mm-hmm. But, yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. And the other thing about that is like when her hair starts falling out, Rochelle doesn't, like, she sees her and she's like, oh, that's sad, but doesn't feel any empathy towards her. And she's still supposed to be this mean girl at the end. And I'm like, I think she should have learned her lesson in it. Whereas they just are still the same at the end. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they didn't change it all.
Yeah. And then we go to Neve Campbell, and she's at the hospital with her mom, and they're talking to the doctors about
her scars.
She has burn scars on her back, and she's getting some sort of treatment that, like, this was effective for me. Seeing that machine, like, stabbing her over and over in the back, like, that got to me. Yeah. I was like, wow, that looks terrible. Yeah. So you have some sympathy for her.
And then we see Nancy's home life. She's living in a trailer. Her mom is with this like low beat guy. I guess they're married, and like he's horrible to her, yelling at her. But like I think that was what they were trying to get at. But she was the one yelling at him. The mom was yelling, not the dad. You know,
he didn't seem bad enough, and it really made me think of Halloween 2007, like that cartoonishly abusive dad too. I was like, dude, it's just like so hammy.
Mm-hmm. So, like, they could have done that in a better. I feel like a lot of the acting choices could have been done better.
Yeah, and also they could have raised the stakes there in like with the racism thing. Mm-hmm. They could have leaned into it and said like this stepdad or mom's boyfriend or whatever literally wants to assault Fairuza Balk.
Exactly.
And make us scared for her.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's higher stakes there.
Yeah, I feel like the stakes were very low.
Yeah. And then, you know, instead it just felt like, you know, a lot of teenagers don't like living at home.
Oh, yeah.
I know I did.
Same.
So it's kind of like, okay, sure.
Yeah. So we see all of the other three girls and their terrible lives. And then the worst thing that's happening to Sarah is that a guy is saying that she's a lousy lay. Even though she never even had sex with him. And so the girls are like, we're going to go to the woods and we're going to go on a field trip. And so the next thing happens is they're on a bus. And I was like, did y'all skip school? Or did y'all leave after school? I was confused about when this timeline was.
Yeah, it could have been any time.
Yeah, but they get on this bus and they go to the woods. And they get off the bus and the bus driver goes, hey, girls, make sure you watch out for weirdos. And Fairuza Balk turns around and says, we are the weirdos.
I like that line.
Yeah, that was a good line.
But also, I like that the bus driver stops in the middle of nowhere where there's no bus stop or bus station or anything.
Or anyone.
What did they do?
Where are the weirdos?
Yeah. Hey, could you just stop here on the side of the road and let us out? Like, no, I don't think I should do that. I might get in trouble.
I definitely can't let you off here. So they go into the woods and they're doing this ritual. And this is like one of the first times they actually do a big ritual. And it's already like almost halfway through the movie. It's definitely at the end of the first act.
Yeah, I would say this is like second act stuff.
The beginning of the second act.
Yeah, I would definitely say that.
So they go into the woods, and they do this incantation where they're just, they all have something that they want. So, Bonnie wants to be pretty because of her scars.
Uh-huh.
Rochelle
wants to get even
with the girl that's picking on her.
Yeah.
Sarah wants that guy that was calling her a lousy lay to like her.
Yeah.
Which
seems weird.
Yeah.
But she basically just wants to make a fool out of him.
No, I think she wanted to she actually wanted to, because the line that she says is like, I know it's sad, but I want him to like me.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay.
So maybe it's like she just has low self-esteem is what they've been trying to set up this whole time.
Yeah, but they haven't done it well.
No.
And then Fairuza Balk says she wants power. Like that's what she wants. And so whenever she gets, like later on, everyone gets kind of what they want. But when Fairuza Balk gets what she wants, I was like, that's not what she asked for. Because she just wanted Manon to enter her.
Right.
Like that's all she's wanted this whole time. And so whenever she like gets what she wants, she didn't actually get what she wanted. So it was a little weird.
Right.
I think in the first one, she should have wished for a better life, like not to be poor, not to be white trash. Because that's one of the characters they say, she goes, what did she want? She goes, she doesn't want to be white trash. And then, Rochelle goes, well, she is white trash. She's going to always be white trash. You can't make yourself not white trash.
Yeah. and then where they do it's called an incantation. Is that what you said?
Yeah. It's like a spell.
I keep wanting to say incandescent. but
Like a light bulb.
Yeah, butterflies show up, and it's kind of a signal like, oh, okay, your incantation was heard and accepted.
Yes.
So you're like, oh, this is cool. It's working for them. And then they go back to school the next day, and they're starting to see like, oh, look, their hexes are working. And
Yeah, the guy that Sierra wanted to like her, he keeps looking over at her. Mm-hmm. The girl that was picking on Rochelle, her hair slowly starts falling out.
yeah,
She takes her swim cap off, and like there's like a piece of hair in it, and she's like, "What's happening?" I thought by the end of the movie she was going to be bald, but she wasn't. I was like, "It's
she kind of
definitely
disappeared from the movie.
falling out slowly."
Yeah,
And then Bonnie goes to the doctor, and they're like checking up on her scars, and they're like wiping them away.
yeah.
I was like, "That's an interesting way to do it."
It was like they put Elmer's glue
Yes.
when you put Elmer's glue on your hand
Yeah.
and then peel it off.
Peel it off, and they just were wiping it off. I was like, "Ew, gross!"
Well, Nev Campbell, it turns out you just had Elmer's glue on your back this whole time.
This whole time.
Yeah, sorry about that. Next time, take a better shower.
And then Faruka, like everyone's like, she didn't get what she wanted. She's mad because she didn't get what she wanted.
Yeah, but the first they show that like this starts like the fun and games of the second scene.
Yeah.
So where it shows them doing the light as a feather, stiff as a board thing.
Yeah.
Did you ever do that?
Yes, everyone does that. Did you do that?
Probably. I don't remember though.
There were some other ones that we used to do too. I can't remember them though.
Yeah. I did a lot of that dumb stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why it comes to mind, like doing Bloody Mary or Candyman in the mirror.
Yeah.
That's not really witchcraft, but it's one of those things that you do at slumber parties.
It's the occult.
Yeah, yeah, a cult, I guess you could call.
And then Faruka, like that night, she's something happens and she like screams at her stepdad because he's yelling at her mom because she thinks he's gonna hurt her. And then he has a heart attack and he dies.
Right.
And then like immediately after, like the mom is all dressed up like at the funeral, and this guy's like, "Well, you're actually getting a bunch of money."
Yeah, it turns out he had what they called a whole life insurance policy, and that they got $175,000.
Which, whenever that popped up, I was like, they're freaking out. Like they have so much money, and I was like, that won't even pay for our full mortgage.
Yeah, well, in 1996, that's almost 30 years ago, and when you are really that poor,
Yeah.
170, that's a life-changing amount of money.
Oh, definitely.
Unless
But
you
like the
just
house
spend it
that
on
they're the condo that they got was
Yeah, it was like
probably
a-
worth way more than that.
Yeah, it was like a high-rise in downtown LA
Yeah.
or something.
That would have been worth way more than $175,000.
Yeah, and-
But they're acting like it's millions of dollars.
yeah,
Just say it was millions of dollars.
yeah. It could have been a cool million.
Yeah,
That would have
for
been
real.
that would have been enough. Yeah.
But it was like, I was like, why'd y'all lowball them? Give them a big amount. So she gets what she wants, and then they're starting to hang out more, and they're like, they go to her Faruka Bulk's house, Nancy's house, and
They're having like a party there.
yeah, they're just like hanging out, and they start looking up other spells and incantations and things like that to do. So like one of them was a glamour, where you make other people see something that's not actually there.
And then Firuza Balk says that she wanted a smaller butt, which is another sign of the times.
Definitely very 90s. Especially
now
because she's so skinny.
She was very skinny, but now they'd be like, "Oh, give me a bigger, more shapely butt,"
For real.
which I don't mind.
And then we see the guy that Sarah wanted to like her. We see him getting a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, periodically he's like coming to her house late at night, and her dad caught him there once, and she's getting a little freaked out about it because he's getting a little too blatant about it.
Yeah, and then they go back to the shop because Sarah tells everyone, she's like, hey, like, something seems wrong. Like, he's a little more aggressive than I thought he would be. And then they go back to the shop, and the lady goes, well, everything you send out, you get back threefold, which means you get it 3 times as much.
Yeah. Where this is like, this movie, I saw it coming, right? Because this is every episode of Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
It's like, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Nice try, asshole. So this person just essentially sets it up for all the morons who haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah.
That whatever you put out in the world, basically the negative energy that you put out there, it's going to come back to you.
Yes. And then, so after she's told them this, she's like, hey guys, maybe we should be careful with what we're doing. You can tell that she's kind of like a little nervous to do some other stuff, but they go to the beach and...
Yeah, and Fairuza Balk is like drunk on power at this point.
Yeah. They go to the beach and they're doing this incantation so that they can get Manon to come into
Basically,
Fairuza Balk.
yeah, inhabit her body completely.
Yeah. To give her all of this power.
Right.
And the way that they shot this was weird because like they like woke up in the next morning, but everyone else was already awake and they were just staring. And Rochelle wakes up and she's like, what? Did it work? And I was like, wait, did you fall asleep there? And everyone else, it was weird.
Yeah, it was like they passed out or something like that.
Yeah, but the other ones weren't even passed out. They were just standing there.
I absolutely hated this scene.
Yeah.
I hated it from the minute they walked out on the beach. It looked like shit. When Fairuza Balk walks on the water, it's, an old-fashioned composite.
Yeah.
It looked like shit.
It did.
And the dead shark, like the way they see her and they're like, oh my God, she's all powerful. And they just cartoonishly pan over to a bunch of dead sharks.
Animals.
And there's people out there who didn't also see her walking on water.
Yeah.
I was like, I hate this.
So this is like, this moment is when the movie gets really hokey and like really bad.
Yeah.
So.
And there's still no stakes. Like there's still nothing like, that's like, we have to stop Fairuza Balk from doing X, Y, Z.
Yeah, and the other friends...
Or we have to stop Mano from, like... It would be really cool if they start to get scared that Fairuza Balk is going to completely disappear and there's going to be a incredibly powerful warlock that's going to inhabit the earth.
Yeah.
And give it better stakes.
Yeah, but they definitely did not go that way.
No.
The girls are driving home again, and it's night again for some reason. And like Fairuza Balk is like, "Oh, I'm changing the light colors whenever we go past them."
It'd be really funny if she had a huge butt now. I mean a skinny butt because she has first one.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, she was already. She would disappear.
No, it would be big because it's the monkey paw thing.
Oh, yeah. So she is driving them, and you can tell that Sarah's nervous and like scared because she's driving recklessly. But it wasn't like she was scared of her power. It seemed like she was just more scared of the driving, which I get.
Right.
But they definitely should have done it in a more of a way that everyone was scared of how Fairuza Balk was becoming. But
Yeah.
They didn't do that.
And it was not very interestingly shot. Like the camera is just in the car the whole time. Mm-hmm. It would be cool if they had a wide shot of showing them speeding through these lights.
Yeah.
And then cars like, spinning, typical movie stuff. But they didn't do any of that.
Yeah. So they get out of the car because the car scene ends, whatever. And Sarah's just becoming really nervous, and she goes on a date she's trying to tell the guy that she put the spell on that she doesn't want to do this anymore. And he's like, I can't stop thinking about you, or I'll think about. And he comes in and attempts to rape her.
Yeah.
And she gets away, luckily. And the girls are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he did that. And Frusa Balk goes, oh, okay, I know what I'm going to do. He's at this party for sure. I'm going to go to that party. And they're like, no, Frusa, don't do that. Don't do that. But she goes anyways. And she finds him and she takes him upstairs because he's like, where's Sarah? I need Sarah. And so she brings him upstairs and then she's coming on to him, which was very weird.
Yeah. Well, she shapeshifts
After she's come on to him.
Yeah. It's like, why wouldn't you just show up at the party, as her and then did something like, as they're starting to make out, like reveal something really awful to him.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're having sex with a decaying dead body or something.
Yeah.
'Cause you can literally do anything.
Yeah.
You have the power of Manon.
Yeah. So she glamours herself to be Sarah, and then like they start making out. It looks like they're almost doing it.
Yeah.
And Sarah walks
they're all completely clothed, but
yeah. But
they
Sarah,
gotta at least be dry humping.
yeah. Sarah walks in and she's like, Nancy, stop it. And he goes, what? And then she changes in front of him, and then he like runs away from her. And Sarah's like, you need to stop. Like, this is too much. Which everyone also in this movie is very whispery. Like, so even when they're screaming, it's not that screamy. Or like when they're upset, like it's just like, I'm really upset.
Yeah.
You need to listen to me.
Yeah, especially the one, Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very breathy, whispery kind of feeling in this whole movie. But she...
They fight, and then the football guy falls out of the window.
Well, yeah, she kind of power pushes him out.
Does she?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
she opens the window behind him, and like there's this wind, and he like falls backwards. Which he was in the room, so he had to take several steps back to fall out. But he falls to his death, and Sarah's like, "This is too much," but she's still hanging out with him at school.
Yeah, and then Sarah goes to meet with the lady at the store again because she's kind of like her mentor.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember exactly what she says, but she's basically like, you have the power to stop it. But then she's like, no, I can't do it. She's too scared.
Well, right before that, something happens. I think they're at school or something, and the girls come up to her and are like,
oh, yeah. That's
why
right.
are you putting a binding spell on Nancy? And like they're like in her nightmare, like they're giving her nightmares and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like the next day or something. And they're giving her nightmares and like creeping her out. And so after school, or at some point in the day after she's been at school, she goes to the lady and she's like, I need help. I don't know what to do. And she's like, you can take Manon in yourself. And she was like, you have light and you can make him do good things. And so she starts to try to bring him in, but then this like fireball happens.
She gets scared.
And she gets,
and
she's
runs
scared
home.
and runs home.
And then Fairuza Balk comes and like confronts her or something.
Yeah, all of the
right?
girls are downstairs. But they
they
call her on the phone and they're like, did you check the news?
That's right. Yeah. And that turns out her dad and her stepmom died in a plane crash. And then she's like, okay, now I have to summon Manon.
Well,
that's when she does
Well,
it.
I think she's just kind of scared. And then she goes downstairs and the girls are there, and then they start levitating and they're like, you're gonna, I don't know. They make her slit her wrist. They're like, you're gonna kill yourself tonight. And there have been like spiders and snakes and stuff like all around. She like runs back upstairs because she's like, I'm not going to kill myself. And so she's laying on the floor because she's losing a lot of blood, I guess. I mean, yeah, that's what is happening. She's losing blood, and so she's like passing out almost. But she's doing these incantations, and the two other girls are like going upstairs to see like, what is she going to do? Or like maybe we can help this along or something. And she puts a glamour on them to see themselves as threefold. So like what they would look like if they were threefold.
Right.
And they see themselves in the mirror. Like Rochelle's hair's falling out. Bonnie has like scars all over her face, and they've taken over most of her body. And then they freak out and they run out of the house. And so it's just Nancy there trying to kill Sarah.
Right. Yeah. They run out, go home, and they're like, okay, let's not be screwing with witchcraft anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we find out the bugs and the snakes were just an illusion, which sucks. It would be better if they stuck around.
I don't know about that. For me.
Not for you, but it would have been better stakes. And then Bulk sees how powerful she is and is like, tries to do that thing where like, okay, I'm sorry. But
Yeah.
it's just like trying to, like a false sense of security. Mm-hmm. Give her a false sense of security, and they start fighting. And I think there was some pretty interesting effects.
Yeah.
Like they had something where they both flew into another room.
Yeah.
And it was obvious that they built like a sideways set.
Yeah.
And they put them on a string to fall on top of each other, and it looked good. It was probably stunt people too. Mm-hmm. But there was a cool little witch fight. And then Fairuza Balk's fingers turn into a snake.
That was weird.
That was little CG snakes. It didn't look that great. But then, I don't. How exactly does she? Defeat her?
Like the wardrobe comes in and like supposedly smashes. Like Nancy like jumps out of the way, and then it supposedly smashes, but Sarah like melted herself into the wall.
Oh right, yeah.
And so she's like trying to find her, and she's pushed the shelf out of the way, and she's like looking through all the clothes and stuff. And then when you see her outfit that she was wearing, that Sarah was wearing, like perfectly laid out. And so she's about to stab her, and Sarah's body like forms back into itself, and she kicks her.
Oh right.
Into the glass. That was
it.
There
was a glass kick. Yeah, and then she's supposed to be defeated, and they cut away to the next day.
Yeah, or like, yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
maybe even a couple days.
Yeah, some time has passed. It's daytime. She's outside.
Sarah is outside packing her parents are packing their vehicles.
I think they looked more like they were unpacking.
I thought they were moving away.
I don't know
Maybe
what they
not.
were doing. But then like we see your dad, and the Bonnie and Rochelle are like, "Oh, hey, Mr."
It was just
whatever.
an illusion.
Yeah, it was just an illusion. I was like, "Okay, great."
Yeah.
Way to destroy any kind of stakes. And they're like, "Oh, we want to see like
if you have powers, because we don't have any more powers."
Yeah.
And
they're basically apologizing.
well, no, I think because then they leave and they're like, "I bet she doesn't have any powers either."
Yeah, but they did apologize. Like there was a little bit of redemption in them.
Well, I think they were just coming to see like if they could get some power from her.
Oh, okay.
That's what I thought. And then Sarah makes a tree branch fall in front of them.
Yeah.
And
like lightning strike.
Yeah, and they can tell that, she has powers.
Yeah.
And they run away.
And then we find out that
Nancy's
Nancy is in a mental institution strapped to a bed.
Saying, "I can fly."
Yeah, all
She's
kinds
Peter
of crazy
Pan.
stuff. Yeah, and then the movie just abruptly ends.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Joey, I want to hear your no bullshit assessment.
Oh, my no bullshit assessment of this movie is it was a pretty good script, but they just didn't go for it when they should have been going for it. The stakes weren't high enough. The visual aspects of it, like they just didn't have their fun. Every time you had an opportunity to have like a cool sequence or a fun gag, they just didn't go for it.
Yeah, it misses the mark on so many little moments.
Yeah, and I think it was a budgetary thing because $15 million in 1996 is not a lot of money to make like a movie with a lot of practical special effects. But the parts, the teen girl coming of age, like trying to gain confidence and power and, stomp out your haters. Like, that's relatable. And I think that's what people really like about this movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Because everybody has those fantasies in high school where you wish you could get even with the people. I know I had them.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I wasn't an outcast in high school.
Yeah, no, me either. I had a lot of friends in high school.
All right, Ms. Bragg over here.
I was very popular. I could hang out with a lot of different types of people.
Yeah, me too.
So.
I wasn't ever an outcast, but I also was never a popular kid.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, it's relatable for that reason. But they didn't stick the landing. I was pretty bored watching this, so I don't think I'll watch it again.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time. There were actually some parts that I forgot had happened. But like the movie, I think some people really love this movie, but I think it's just for like the nostalgia of it and not that it's actually good, because it's not that great of a movie.
No.
But it's interesting, and if you've never seen it, if you want to watch it, you can watch it.
Yeah.
I would, if someone was like, I want to watch The Craft, I'd be like, okay, cool. I wouldn't be like, don't watch that movie.
No. If someone was like, hey, you want to watch if someone came over and asked you if you wanted to watch The Craft, I'd be like, well, I'll be out in the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We have a little game that we're going to play.
Do we?
Are you ready?
I'm totally ready.
So, this game is Wiccan or Not.
Ooh.
So, I have some celebrities, and your job is to guess, I guess, if they are Wiccan or not. I think I've got celebrities that you know, all of them, except maybe one or two. One. There's only one person that I think you won't know.
Okay.
But you would know them if you saw them.
It's Timothy Chalamet.
I don't know who that is. Okay. So the first one is Stevie Nicks. Do you think that they are Wiccan or even accused of being Wiccan or not?
Ooh, witchy woman. Is that Stevie Nicks?
No.
No. Yeah, I think Stevie Nicks is known for being like having a witchcraft type persona, so I'm going to say that she's Wiccan.
Yes, definitely. She has said that she's done Wiccan things.
Yeah, you know that persona. If like you see any of her album covers, it's like very, very obvious she's like leaning into that. So.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so the next one is Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt? Chris Pratt is a noted Christian these days, so I'm going to say, yeah, he's totally Wiccan.
He is not.
No, he is not Wiccan.
He is not Wiccan.
You know who he's married to?
No.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter.
How old is she?
Old enough to be married to him.
Okay.
I don't know if there's an age gap. I'm pretty sure they're around the same age. Arnold Schwarzenegger's pretty old.
Yeah.
But isn't that that's a crazy family to be married into?
Well, he was married to Anna. What's her name?
I know who you're talking about, but I'm blanking on her name too. She's a comedian, and she was in The House Bunny and all that. Yeah, they were married. They even had a kid together, but I guess they didn't work out.
Oh, I heard it was a very bad break. It was because of him.
Yeah, I've heard there's some drama, but I'm not really into celebrities' lives.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Avril Lavigne.
Avril Lavigne. She's a Canadian. She makes bad music. She doesn't like skater boys.
No, she does like skater boys.
She does like skater boys.
She does.
I thought she said "see you later, boy" to the skater boy.
No, he was a skater boy. Oh, the girl that she's talking to in the talking about in the song is not her. She's the girl at the end who is with the skater boy.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna say Wiccan.
Yes, she has done some Wiccan stuffs. She has dabbled in the Wiccan department.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Sam Smith.
Sam Smith.
He's a singer.
singer.
Uh-huh.
I know the name. I don't know anything about him. Don't know what he looks like. If I've heard one of his songs, I didn't know it was him.
Won't you stay with me?
Oh, that's Sam Smith?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's a very velvety voice.
Yeah. No, he's good. I like that song. He wants someone to stay with him, and I think he's talking about Jesus. So I'm going to say he's not Wiccan.
He is.
He is.
He actually has talked about he uses crystals a lot to find a person.
A person.
Like love. He wants to find love. So
Okay.
he uses crystals a lot. Okay. Next one, Nicole Kidman. Nicole Kidman was in Practical Magic.
Oh, yeah, she was with, what's her name? Sandra Bullock.
Mm-hmm.
They were in that. Okay.
I love Practical Magic.
She's...
Have you seen that?
No.
I love that movie. That one's actually a really good one.
Okay. So she's Australian.
Mm-hmm.
She's in those AMC
Commercials.
pre-movie commercials where we talk about liking to come to theater.
She was in Moulin Rouge.
She was in Moulin Rouge. I mean, her filmography is vast.
I love Nicole Kidman.
I think she's all right.
I like her a lot.
She's in another movie we did called there is nothing, like, I'm searching my memory for anything that would lead me to understand what her religion would be, or I can't think of anything. I'm just going to say she's not.
She is not.
Okay.
No, she's actually Christian.
She's more likely to be Scientologist because she was married to Tom Cruise.
She was married to Tom Cruise, but she's a Christian. Okay, next one. Patrick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze is dead.
When he was alive.
No, the only... Okay, so in Point Break, he was very spiritual, but it was about surfing. So I'm going to say that he was not a Wiccan.
He was.
Oh my God.
He actually even he liked crystals a lot, and he even had a wand.
Wow.
I know.
That's crazy. Just when he's such a real life character,
I know.
and that just added way more to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next one is Giselle Bundchen.
I don't know who that is.
She's a model. She is married to Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, possible Trump supporter. What was her name again?
Giselle Bundchen.
With a name like that, I'm just going to go ahead and say she's a Wiccan.
She is. She has been noted to say that she does spells for Tom Brady's games so that he'll win.
Well, it must be working because he's like one of the most successful quarterbacks ever.
I have no idea. Okay.
I don't even know football, and I know that.
Okay, I've got two more. Ready?
Okay.
Adele,
Adele.
the singer. I don't think there's anyone else named
All
Adele.
right. She likes rolling in the deep.
Mm-hmm.
Rumor has it he's the one I'm leaving you for. I'm running real. Dude, you're getting Adele.
What?
That was a commercial for Dell computers back in the day.
Oh,
Dude, you're getting Adele. I find her to be very attractive. She's got a real pretty face.
She's lost a lot of weight.
Yeah,
recently.
she has. Honestly, I don't care about that. She was
Oh no,
pretty.
yeah,
she was pretty.
She's always
before.
been gorgeous.
Yeah,
Her bone structure in her face, flawless. She's gorgeous.
So I don't think a Wiccan can be that attractive and with that blue of eyes. I'm going to say she's not.
She actually uses crystals so that she doesn't get nervous on stage.
Okay, all right.
So yes.
Can you use crystals and not be a Wiccan?
I guess, but crystals is a Wiccan craft.
Okay.
So
You know, all
these
of
are also people just accused of being Wiccan.
Oh. Okay.
So like some of them might not actually be Wiccan or just like do like one little thing and people are like, yeah, they're Wiccan.
Uh-huh.
So This is the internet. You know.
Yeah, this is the internet.
This is the internet.
The trustworthy internet.
Okay. I lied to you. There are actually two more. Next one, Beyonce.
I don't even want to talk about Beyonce. I'm just going to say no.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
She, people think that, well, one of her drummers said that she used Wiccan things. Beyonce has never said that she's done Wiccan stuff, ever.
Yeah, I believe it.
She's also said, like,
I don't think
supposed to
that
be
would
very
look,
religious, like Christian.
I don't think that would look good for her image
Definitely
at all.
not. People also think she's a Satanist and a Satan worshiper.
I think
People
she's
have a
just
lot
an
of things
asshole.
to say about, huh?
I think she's just an asshole.
Oh, well, they say it because like you know, like the eye thing, where like there's like a triangle in your eye, and like
Yeah. Well, I thought that was Illuminati stuff.
but Illuminati is based off of like Satanism, and like that's what people say, like, oh, they worship Satan. Illuminati worships Satan. So,
I
anyways,
just know that when she gets fucked good, she takes her partner to Red Lobster.
okay.
So,
Well, I've never taken. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. We actually have gone to Red Lobster.
yeah.
I'm
But not after having sex.
No,
That's not really a go-to
of ours.
post-coitus restaurant.
Let me get more shellfish. Let me get some more aphrodisiacs. Okay. So her drummer said that she did something so that she could get into her phone, to the drummer's phone. I don't know. It was very weird. Anyways, last one, Selena Gomez.
Selena Gomez, we watched that cooking show that she did during the pandemic.
She was on a TV show called Wizards of Waverly Place.
Okay, well now
on
you're
Disney
getting
Channel.
wizards and Wiccan stuff mixed together.
Wizards, warlocks.
I'm gonna say that she's not, but don't tell me she uses crystals for something.
She is not.
Okay.
She's Christian. She's very adamant about her Christianity.
Yeah, when we watched that cooking show, I didn't know anything about her except for she's a bad actor.
Oh.
But we watched that cooking show. I'm like, wow, she seems like a pretty down to earth,
Yeah.
normal person.
I would like to hang out with Selena Gomez.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
She had a friend who needed a kidney transplant or something, and she gave her kidney to her friend.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Very, very. I have a lot of. I like Selena Gomez. Like, I mean, I'm not a big fan of her music or her acting, but I like her as a person.
Yeah, maybe that's why she's still in show business, is because she manages to be a good person.
Yeah. And people are like, I'll still work with her.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess what the listener at home should be learning from this is that famous people are fucking wackadoo.
Yeah.
I mean, Gwyneth Paltrow is not the only one with that goop stuff. All of these people are wackadoo.
Lots of people.
You lose your mind when everyone around you is constantly telling you how great you are.
Yeah.
And how unstoppable you are. It messes your brain up.
So, yeah, that was Wiccan or not.
Wiccan or not.
Well, we were actually supposed to do a kitty corner because our daughter actually watched the whole show. But do we want to do a kitty corner?
Oh, no, we've already recorded the whole episode.
Yeah.
I forgot. That's okay. That's going to do it for us here. What movie are we going to be watching next week? Oh, we already know. I already know. It's going to be the 2018 Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be back. And the original stuntman who played Michael Myers is going to be in it, too.
Cool.
Yeah. So in this movie, it's cool because it's literally 40 years later.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so Jamie Lee Curtis is age appropriate. And then the stuntman is also going to be age appropriate too.
Oh, so he's an old man.
Yeah.
That's
old man
fun.
Michael Myers. Yeah. I really like this movie. I can't wait for you to see it.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
And it definitely isn't directed by Rob Zombie, so I'm into that.
All right. Well, that's going to do it here for us at
You Haven't Seen It?
Bye. Don't use any crystals for stuff.